Calm down. Calm down, everyone, because God, I am trying to. We finally got a God of War Ragnarok trailer in the PlayStation Showcase, and a confirmation that it's coming out on PS4 and PS5. I've watched the trailer way too many times than is reasonably healthy, and have found a ton of details you've probably missed. The trailer is only about 3 minutes and a bit long, so you're gonna see it repeated quite a few times, so just bear with me, yeah? Enough wasting time, let's get into it. From Freya to Angrboda to hidden characters and new realms, here's 27 things you need to know about God of War Ragnarok. One of the biggest things in the trailer is that Atreus wants Kratos to act like a general, but Kratos is sticking to father mode, which is a hell of a lot of progress for his character arc. God of War tracked his gradual acceptance of fatherhood and learning how to be a good father, so now Kratos wants to keep his son safe above everything else. After being the god killer for so long, Kratos is now convinced that nothing good will come of further confrontations with the Aesir, especially since he inadvertently tangled himself up in their drama by killing Baldur at the end of God of War. That smells of wishful thinking to me, though. The consequences of his actions are already knocking at Kratos' door. Atreus, on the other hand, wants to fight now that he knows he's part god and is figuring out what that means for him and his family. Atreus has a good heart, bless him, and he wants to protect people from Ragnarok, so you can imagine how this conflicts with Kratos wanting to stay far away from the Aesir. At the beginning of the trailer you can see Atreus hunting. Just compare that to the beginning of God of War, where he was learning how to hunt and take an innocent's life. His growth is so palpable that he's able to, and Kratos trusts him to go and hunt. Look at his hands and you can also see that our grown-up Atreus has new tattoos too, and is maintaining his connection with his mother Faye by dressing in lots of yellow, which is Faye's thematic colour. This ball has the name Haiti written on it. Interesting, especially as it could be a reference to Skoll and Haiti, the wolves who were chasing after the sun and moon. At Ragnarok, they finally catch the sun and moon and the earth is cast into darkness. Fenrir is Haiti's parent, and as Loki/Atreus is Fenrir's dad, he could be looking at something prophesizing his grandchild's arrival. Big deal incoming. Meet Angrboda, Loki and therefore Atreus' future lover. As they're both young and the children they have are massive deals to Ragnarok, introducing her brings the timeline of the game into question. As for Ragnarok to come into being, we need Jormungandr and Fenrir and Hel to be born, all of which are their children. Anyway, leaving that conundrum aside, Angrboda is one of the last giants and seems to have hidden knowledge of her own that she's teasing in the trailer. Giants have a talent for prophecy. Faye foresaw everything coming in the events of God of War, so she might already know that she's due to fall in love with Atreus as well as what the future holds for them. A powerful ally for dad and boy, to be sure. Angrboda also looks like she's in a different realm from the other places we've seen with these bright plants behind her. Could she be hiding out somewhere as one of the last giants, away from Odin and Thor? Wouldn't blame her, to be honest. Ratatoskr, the squirrel who runs up and down Yggdrasil, is also in God of War Ragnarok, as was confirmed by Sung-Won Cho, Ratatoskr's voice actor. Hrist the Valkyrie is in God of War Ragnarok too, again confirmed by voice actor Erika Lindbeck. Her name is related to the Old Norse word Hrista, meaning to shake or quake, and therefore meaning the quaking one, so she could have earthquake abilities. I, for one, can't wait to meet a real Valkyrie that's not trying to kill me for once, like in God of War. Durlin is yet another new character and could be a dwarf. Maybe a version of Dvalin, who is mentioned in Norse sagas. He looks like a scholar with objects from other cultures on his belt and a ton of scrolls. Plus, is that a baby Kraken on his shoulder? Whoever he is, he's definitely well-travelled. Tyr is alive, and that's a big deal. He's Odin's nemesis and was imprisoned by him and is the Norse god of war, who's a pacifist really, and has spent his time advocating for peace and learning about other cultures. I mean, he's got hieroglyph tattoos on his arm and coins from possibly Greece on his belt. He had the trust of the giants, hence the Bifrost crystals in his eyes, just like Mimir, but unfortunately his access to Jotunheim to try and negotiate a peace treaty allowed Odin to sneak in and almost wipe out the entire giant race. Tyr has both his hands in the trailer, so he hasn't lost one to Fenrir yet. But has Fenrir even been born? Again, a ton of questions then arise about the timeline of God of War Ragnarok. To get to Tyr, it also looks like Kratos and Atreus have to fight through this underground arena with Greek-looking enemies by the looks of it, which is ironic that they have to fight to get to the God of War. It's possible that Tyr could have escaped by fighting his way out, but he didn't want to engage in violence, or he didn't want to invoke Odin's wrath, which is fair enough. Freya is one of the main antagonists in God of War Ragnarok after Kratos killed Baldur in God of War. She's after some motherly revenge, although we're all better off without Baldur. Just in case you've forgotten, she used to be the Queen of the Valkyries, is a powerful wielder of magic, and has enough strength to cut through Kratos' shield. Odin took her Valkyrie wings, but if she gets them back, she's going to be even more powerful, so just beware. Thor is the second antagonist, and he's just as bloodthirsty as he's painted in God of War. He wiped out almost all of the giants at Odin's command, just to give you a taste of how far he'll go. Kratos and Atreus killed his sons Magni and Modi, and his half-brother Baldur, so now he's also partaking in some revenge. He doesn't even wear that much armour, as he's so powerful that he presumably doesn't need protection. He looks slightly wild too, and those eyes have seen plenty of death. Thor is also voiced by Ryan Hurst of Sons of Anarchy fame. A massive change from God of War is that we'll be seeing NPCs in villages, a huge contrast from God of War where the world was deliberately devoid of life. Ragnarok is finally showing us different sides of the world and how other people live in it, and, more importantly, probably how they'll be affected by Ragnarok and Fimbulwinter. This specific environment seems hotter, almost tropical in comparison to Midgard. So this is probably Svartalfheim, home of the dwarves, as that's where Kratos and Atreus find Sindri and Brok. Kratos and Atreus arrive in this Svartalfheim port town and seem to be exploring civilian life, like this fishing shop. Sindri and Brok, the Huldra brothers, are making a return too after Kratos reunited them in God of War, once again putting them in business together. They were the comedic relief in God of War, so I can't wait to see more of the duo. Centaurs named Stalkers are in God of War Ragnarok, and I kind of love them already. This might be the Vanaheim realm, home of the Vanir gods like Freya before she was banished from it by Odin. And if the Vanir hate Kratos and Atreus due to Baldur's death, it could be that the realm's inhabitants, the Stalkers, have been ordered to hunt the pair down. In the developer interview after the showcase, the devs said that this is the finale of the God of War Norse saga. After the prophecy showed Kratos dying at Atreus' side, could Atreus be taking over as the main character afterwards? That could be the game Sony Santa Monica are working on in the background, but we'll have to wait and see. This sled with dogs has replaced the boat in Midgard, as now everything has frozen over due to Fimbulwinter and the onset of Ragnarok. I hope those dogs have names, and, come to think of it, what if they're called Skoll and Haiti? Time and bending time is going to be a part of God of War Ragnarok. I'm calling it now. Jormungandr was thrown backwards into time during Ragnarok, which is why he's in God of War. And he's another one of Atreus and Angrboda's children, so yeah, time might not be entirely linear in God of War Ragnarok. A quick aside, Kratos doesn't give a damn about gods or destiny, and he's proven he can change fate, so there's no guarantee Ragnarok will actually happen, not if he has anything to do with it. Atreus summons what looks like an antelope here, which is one of his new runic summons. The 3 wolves he can summon are still the coolest ones though. New monsters are coming to God of War Ragnarok, like the Stalker and the Drakey, as well as these frog warriors. Can't wait to kill them in deliciously violent ways. These enemies, however, look kind of Greek. The whole area looks like a gladiator arena too. This could be an illusion or trap created especially to prey on Kratos' mind, but they're also underground due to the stalagmites around them. Looks like these warriors are being brought down by the Bifrost too, so I sense either Odin or Thor behind these foes. Dark Elves return in God of War Ragnarok 2, as they pop up briefly here, and this red rock makes it look like this is another one of the new realms, or possibly another section of Alfheim, the realm of the Elves. But these look like light elf warriors in Alfheim, with their gold masks and horns, which are the same as the light elf horns in God of War, though we didn't see them fight at all in that, so this is a first. We could be getting more info about the light elf dark elf conflict, as we know so little about what the light elves did to deserve such violence in God of War. Looks like they're wielding katana blades too. One of the big things in God of War Ragnarok is, quote, to push player choice in combat. Whether it's through hard-hitting combos, a mastery of the elements, or clever defensive tactics, you will find plenty of opportunity to fight alongside our duo in a way that feels uniquely expressive, says the official PlayStation blog. Sweet. Finally, in God of War Ragnarok, you can visit all 9 realms instead of the 6 available in God of War. Vanaheim, home of the Vanir gods, Svartalfheim, home of the dwarves, and Asgard, home of the Aesir gods, are all on the cards, as well as new areas from other realms like Alfheim, Muspelheim, and others. And that's 27 things you need to know about God of War Ragnarok. If you enjoyed the video, thanks very much, and don't forget to like and subscribe to Eurogamer for more videos about video games, as we have a new one out every single day. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go and finally sleep, because God knows what time it is, so stay hydrated folks, and I'll see you next time.